coming back here to do this reading today. Who is Srila Prabhupada? People often ask, and it is always a hard question to answer. For Srila Prabhupada, always eclipsed conventional designations. At various times, people have called him a scholar, a philosopher, a cultural ambassador, a prolific author and a religious leader, a spiritual teacher, and a social critic, and a holy man. In truth, he was all of these things. Certainly, no one could ever have confused him with modern entrepreneurial gurus who come to the West with slightly packaged, watered-down versions of Eastern spirituality to satisfy our urge for instant well-being and to exploit our well-documented spiritual naivete. Srila Prabhupada was rather a truly holy man, of deep intellectual and spiritual sensitivity. He had a deep concern and compassion for a society which, to lead a large degree, lacks real spiritual dimension. For the enlightenment of human society, Srila Prabhupada produced some 80 volumes of translations and summary studies of India's greatest spiritual classics, and his work has also seen print in both English and in many foreign languages. Also in 1944, Srila Prabhupada single-handedly launched a magazine called Back to Godhead. Nearly all the interviews and lectures, essays, and letters chosen for the science of self-realization first appeared in Back to Godhead. In these pages, Srila Prabhupada presents some of the messages that the great Vyasadhyanta recorded thousands of years ago. The message of ancient India's Vedic literature, as well as we shall see, he quotes freely and often from the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, the other classic Vedic texts. He transmits in modern English the same timeless knowledge that other great self-realized teachers have spoken for millennia. Knowledge that opens up the secrets of self within us, nature, and the universe. The supreme self within and without. Srila Prabhupada speaks daily, with startling clarity and a kind of convincing, simple eloquence, and proves just how relevant the science of self-realization is to our modern world and our own lives. Among the 36 sections chosen for this special book, we hear Srila Prabhupada's moving poem upon his arrival in America, his exchange with noted cardiologist on a soul research, his revelations to the London Broadcasting Company on reincarnation, his telling remarks to the London Times on real and false gurus, his dialogue with a German Benedictine monk on Krishna and Christ, his insights on superconsciousness and the law of karma. His conversation with leading Russian scholar on spiritual communism, spiritual communism, and his intimate talk with his disciples on the sham of modern science. Read the selections in order if you like, or start with the ones that first capture interest. Oh, that's interesting. You don't have to read this book, but we'll be reading it according to the chapters. The glossary at the back will explain unfamiliar words. The science of self-realization will change you and bring you spiritual enlightenment. Seeing the aim of human life. According to Vedic civilization, the perfection of life is to realize one's relationship with Krishna or with God. All living entities are parts and parcels of God. They are duty-bound to serve him. This very important Krishna conscious movement is meant to save human society from spiritual death. At present, human society is being misled by leaders who are blind, for they do not know the aim and objective of human life, which is self-realization, and the re-establishment of our lost relationship, the supreme personality of Godhead. That is the missing point. The Krishna consciousness movement is trying to enlighten human society of this important matter. According to Vedic civilization, the perfection of life is to realize one's relationship with Krishna or God, and in the Bhagavad Gita, which is accepted by all known authorities in transcendental science as the basics of all Vedic knowledge, we understand that not only human beings but all living entities are parts and parcels of God. The parts are meant for serving the whole, not just as the legs, hands, fingers, and ears are meant for serving the total body. We living entities, beings, and parcels of God are duty bound to serve Him. Actually, our poison is that we are always rendering service to someone, either our family, country, or society. If we have no one to serve, sometimes we keep a pet or dog, and then we render service to the pet or the dog. All these factors prove that we are constitutionally meant to render service, yet, in spite of serving to the best of our ability, we are not satisfied, nor is the person to whom we are rendering that service satisfied. On the material platform, everyone is frustrated. The reason for this is that the service being rendered is not properly directed. For example, if we want to render service to a tree, we must water the root. If we pour water on the leaves, branches, and twigs, there is little benefit. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead is served, all the other parts and parcels will be automatically satisfied. Consequently, all welfare activities, as well as service to society, family, and nation, are realized by serving to the supreme service of Godhead. It is the duty of every human being to understand his constitutional position with God and to act accordingly. If this is possible, then our lives become successful. Sometimes, however, we feel challenging and say, there is no God, or I am God, or even I don't care for God. But in actuality, this challenging spirit will not save us. God is there, and we can see Him at every moment. If we refuse to see God in our life, then He will be present before us as cruel death. If we do not choose to see Him in one feature, we will see Him in another. There are different features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because He is the original root of the entire cosmic manifestation. In one sense, it is not possible for us to escape Him. This Krishna consciousness movement is not blind religious fanaticism, nor is it as a revolt by some recent upstart. Rather, it is an authorized scientific approach to the matter of our internal and eternal relationship with the absolute personality of Godhead, the supreme enjoyer. Krishna consciousness simply deals with our internal relationship with Him, and the consciousness simply deals with our eternal relationship with Him, and the process of discharging our relative duties to Him. Thus, Krishna consciousness enables us to achieve highest perfection of life, attainable in the present human form of existence. We must always remember that this particular form of human life, it is attained rather after an evolution of millions of years in the cycle of transmigration of the spiritual soul. In this particular form of life, the economic question is more easily solved than in the lower animal forms. There are swine, dogs, camel, asses, and so on, whose economic societies are just as important as ours, but the economic questions of these animals are solved under primitive conditions, whereas the human being is given the facilities to leading a comfortable life by the laws of nature. That's where we will end this today. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. My voice is getting a bit tired, you see? I hope that you enjoyed the reading. We will be doing more of this next week. don't worry. So I'll see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.